Minnesota Minerals Coordinating Committee was created by the legislature in 1987, and its website touts the state's century-long tradition of mining, its workforce, its mineral resources, and its geological databases. Senator Robert Farnsworth has introduced a bill that would attempt to streamline the review and permitting process for metallic mineral mining projects. And he joins me now. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
So this is your first appearance on Capitol Report since you were elected to the Senate in 2021, your first interview, that is. Your campaign website refers to, quote, fighting for Northland families and fighting for our way of life. Is that, in part at least, a reference to mining?
Yeah, it would be a huge reference to mining. I'm probably biased. I grew up in the home of a 33-year miner. And my dad, he grew up in foster care in Maine. And when he got out of the Air Force, if he hadn't got a job at the mines, I don't know where he would have been. And so I'm biased because we had a good middle class upbringing without a college degree. And it's the number one employer. It brings in the most taxes. And it's not just for the Iron Range. I mean, they're the biggest contributor to the school trust fund, which benefits all schools. But yeah, it definitely, mining is a huge part of our way of life up here.
To the casual observer, it seems that there's an ongoing battle over mining issues with frequent headlines about various mining projects and whether permits have been issued or denied and by which various state or federal agencies, and then subsequently lawsuits filed. Is that an accurate observation?
Yeah, it seems like there's always a fight going on. I mean, you have, on one hand, you have the DNR, and they are, they're just putting their nose to the grindstone, and they're working, and they're looking at the permits, and they're looking at the science, and they're sort of outside of the fray. And then, of course, you have the politicians like myself that are fighting battles in the press, like, hey, we've got to get these things done. We need the jobs. We need the tax base. And so you take something like the new range, which used to be called Polymet, and they had all their permits a few years ago, and we were excited. We thought they're going to be ready to go. And then the courts got involved, and they pulled some of them, or they suspended some of the permits. And I'm confident that they're going to get those permits back. But I think that's one of the reasons that I support permit reform. But also, to go along with that, we need tort reform. We have to quit with all of these frivolous lawsuits. Once a company has gone through the process, and it should be a transparent process, once they've gone through the process and shown that they're able to do something successfully, then they should be able to move forward.
So speaking of permitting reform, you are the chief author of a bill that has bipartisan support that would require the Department of Natural Resources to create an online dashboard to track environmental review and permitting at both the state and federal level. So why would this dashboard be helpful?
Well, first I want to say that I can't take total credit for this. This was a bill that Senator Thomasoni had drafted in the last session, and so we redrafted the bill because it's a good idea. Think about it like when you order a pizza at Domino's. Every time I order a pizza at Domino's, you can look at the dashboard and it says your pizza's been ordered, your pizza's in the oven, your pizza's on its way. Why can't we have something like that with permitting, and not just with minerals, but with everything, so that we have some transparency in the system? And again, if these companies are able to meet the rigorous standards that we have in Minnesota, we'll see that on that dashboard. And if they're not able to meet it, then they're going to stop at that part of the permitting until they're able to meet it. So I think what it does is, well, it does two things. It puts transparency back into the system, and it also opens the door to permitting reform that I know members of the majority are interested in working on. The governor has expressed interest in working on permitting reform, so it opens the door to that as well.
Now, you mentioned the project that's now called New Range Copper Nickel. Before it was known as Polymet, and that has been an ongoing saga of permits denied and on hold and lawsuits. So if there were a dashboard, would that just provide clarity and, as you say, lead potentially to permit reform? Are there other benefits to having kind of a one-stop shop for a history of that particular project?
Well, I think not just for that particular project, but for all the projects, so that the general public will know where these projects are. I mean, I can't tell you how many times people ask me, hey, is PolyMet going to go? You know, I have so-and-so that lives in Aurora or in White Lakes, and I would be able to, you know, rather than say, well, you know, I think it's here or I think it's there, I could say, hey, look at the dashboard so that the public will know exactly where it is. And this would allow voters to be able to make more informed decisions. And I think as part of the dashboard, it shouldn't just be like, so they get their air permit, but I think it should, you know, maybe even have a link with the actual permit so people can say, okay, so this is what the air quality standard is. You know, rather than just saying, well, this is where they are in the process, but having links to include more of that information so that voters are well informed.
Senator Jen McEwen is the sponsor of a bill called Prove It First. The legislation would require peer-reviewed scientific proof that a mine like the one, New Range Copper, that we're talking about, has operated in the U.S. or Canada for 10 years and been closed for 10 years without polluting the environment. What is your perspective on this measure?
As you can probably guess, I certainly don't support it. I can't think of a much more, in regards to business, I can't think of a much more un-American idea. I mean, imagine if the government had told the Wright brothers, you can't test your airplanes for 10 years until we know that other countries have been flying airplanes safely for 10 years. Or if the government, you know, had told NASA, you can't try and get to the moon until other countries have done it for 10 years. I mean, where would we be? We certainly wouldn't have the technology. We wouldn't have the industrial advantage that we have. And it's the same way with mining. I believe we can do it. We can do it cleanly. We talked about New Range. They had their permits. They demonstrated they could do it cleanly. There's other mines that have demonstrated they can do it cleanly. The Flambeau mine in Wisconsin, I don't think it's been closed for 10 years. It was open for like 12 to 14 years. And it's clean. There's very minimal impact on the environment. The Eagle mine in Michigan is another one. It's still running. Of course, we would have to wait for that to be closed for 10 years based on this. Up in Canada, there's the New Gold mine, which is a silver and gold mine that took about 5 years from permitting to construction, which is about a fourth of what, you know, where we're at with PolyMet, and we don't even have a shovel in the ground. So I think that Prove It First legislation, I guess for lack of I can't think of a better word, it's ridiculous, you know, to say somebody has to prove that they can do it for 10 years. We're Americans, we try hard things, and if the challenge is how can we get these non-ferrous minerals out of the ground cleanly, well, let's address the challenge rather than say, well, we're going to wait and let somebody else do it first.
And finally, before we go, you are also chief sponsor of a bill that would add the statement, quote, Minnesota is a mining-friendly state, to the state's policy for mineral development. What impact do you believe that this statement would have if it were in law?
The impact is mostly symbolic, although I think, you know, what it would do, that's included in the statute that talks about mining and the importance of using our mineral resources. I think it reframes the discussion more from a positive perspective, like, hey, you know, we support mining, we're mining friendly, how can we do this, how can we do it well? It wouldn't have any actual, you know, that line wouldn't force the DNR to allow all mining projects, but it just reframes the discussion. But again, it's much more symbolic that yes, we support mining. Mining is a good thing. It's what's going to bring about the green revolution. It's what's going to provide the nickel and all of the minerals that we need for electric cars. And we have it here. You know, why, you know, we know that they have slave labor in China and in the Congo, and they've found children as young as 4 working in the nickel mines in the Congo. Why wouldn't we try and get it cleanly here rather than relying on countries that use child slave labor?
Senator Robert Farnsworth, I want to thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.